About a year and a half prior to meeting Bernie, I dated a guy whom I thought was worth building a future with, but this guy turned out to be emotionally unavailable. We dated for maybe almost a year, but it was an on and off kind of thing because I could sense that his heart was just not 100% into it. There was a lot of lying, ghosting, and other incidents that occurred that just didn't make sense. So I decided to say, adios. After that, I took a short break from dating. Meanwhile, a friend of mine suggested that maybe it was because I was too trusting, that people end up betraying my trust or taking advantage of me, and that maybe I should change that about me. I will not lie to you, I thought about what my friend said. I thought about it carefully and examined myself and how I felt about what she said. Is she right about me? Am I too trusting for my own good? And should I really stop trusting people from now on? You're listening to Shift Happens Every Day, podcast episode number 10. And today I will be sharing with you the mindset shift that I learned to adopt and embrace prior to meeting my Mr. Right. If each one of us is a work in progress, and we are constantly being quote unquote worked on by our master creator, then that means every day we are growing. Every day we are evolving. Every day we are expanding. And so that also means that where we are standing right now in life may not provide sufficient space to allow for that expansion. And so what do? We shift. You may not have realized this yet, but you shift every day. We shift positions, we shift gears, we shift directions, we shift perspectives. This is just a natural and beautiful part of life. Hi, this is Myla Saavedra. My weekly podcast, Shift Happens Every Day, is all about finding just the right tiny adjustments we can make every single day to make room for these shifts in life without being overwhelmed or shocked. And most importantly, without the need to be perfect. I invite you to subscribe to my brand new podcast show, Shift Happens Every Day. Episodes will be released once every week. So come as you are, bring your favorite cup of joe, and let's get ready to make a big shift. Hey there, it's Myla Saavedra and welcome to the season finale of Shift Happens Every Day. In last week's episode, I shared some exciting news with you that I am getting married this coming weekend, and it was also the first time that I talked about my relationship with my other half, Bernie. I shared with you the mindset that I learned to embrace coming into the relationship, which he introduced to me. Today, I will be sharing with you a mindset shift that I introduced to him. This is a mindset that I learned to deeply understand and adopt long before I met Bernie, but it proved to be extremely relevant to us because of what we had gone through individually and separately before meeting each other. Both Bernie and I were divorced, and suffice it to say, we were two severely heartbroken people looking for a second chance at love and hopefully marriage, right? So let me backtrack here a little bit. About a year and a half prior to meeting Bernie, I dated a guy whom I thought was worth building a future with, but this guy turned out to be emotionally unavailable. We dated for maybe almost a year, but it was an on and off kind of thing because I could sense that his heart was just not 100% into it. There was a lot of lying, ghosting, and other incidents that occurred that just didn't make sense. So I decided to say, adios. After that, I took a short break from dating. Meanwhile, a friend of mine suggested that maybe it was because I was too trusting that people end up betraying my trust or taking advantage of me, and that maybe I should change that about me. I will not lie to you. I thought about what my friend said. I thought about it carefully and examined myself and how I felt about what she said. I thought about it long and hard. Is she right about me? Am I too trusting for my own good? And should I really stop trusting people from now on? But after spending days pondering what my friend said, I decided not to change that part about me. There's always a valuable lesson to learn from every failed relationship. And what I learned from mine was not that I was too trusting, and certainly not that I was lied to or cheated on or taken advantage of because I trusted so easily. The other person chose to betray my trust or did not value the trust I gave him because of who he was or who he chose to be. And that had nothing to do with me being the way that I am. Over the years, of course, I also learned the valuable lesson of being a lot more careful about who to trust. I learned to reserve my judgment of people until I've had the chance to get to know them better. But my decision to trust someone is based upon this principle of assuming the best about the other person. Because the truth is that no matter how careful you are, if the person you love chooses to betray your trust, that has nothing to do with the fact that you gave your trust. It has everything to do with the fact that the other person has no integrity and probably has no genuine love for you, which is not within your control. So I decided that I will not be coming into a relationship with Bernie thinking thoughts like, what if he lies to me too? Or he cheats on me? What if I give him my trust and he ends up betraying it too? I made a conscious choice to not make Bernie pay for the mistakes of the men who've gone before him and broke my heart in the process. I had to remind myself that Bernie is another man, he's a different man, and he deserves a chance to prove himself to me without comparing him with the other men I dated. So I decided to assume the best about him. I had to keep in mind, even if Bernie turned out to be my Mr. Right, he isn't Mr. Perfect. No one is. So it isn't fair either if I came into the relationship pretending to give this man a chance, but at the slightest mistake that he makes, I'd be like, I knew it! You are just like them! That's not fair. So if you're going to choose to assume the best about the person, then by God, assume the best about him. If he says something that didn't sound right, don't immediately assume the worst and think that he probably meant to hurt you right from the start. But consider the possibility that he didn't mean it that way, or maybe you heard it wrong and you just took it the wrong way. Or maybe he had a different perspective that you might want to consider understanding first before you make your judgment. This way of looking at things and looking at people was new to Bernie, but it's also the most pivotal mindset shift that he himself will tell you that changed him as a man. And let me tell you though, it's a very simple concept, but it ain't easy. Especially if you've been hurt many times in the past, it's just a natural response that we would be extremely cautious or even suspicious of anyone that might attempt to come close to us, right? And our subconscious mind will also do its best to protect us by refreshing our memory of all the times in the past when we trusted and got hurt as a result. Our subconscious would be saying, girl, we've been down this road before and it didn't work. You want to spend 6 months nursing another broken heart yet again? Yep, that's our subconscious mind, but it's only doing its job to protect us. In my case, after my first date with Bernie and I got a much better sense of the kind of man that he was, I had to tell my subconscious that I got this, my friend, but thank you for watching out for us. I promise that as soon as I see a red flag, I won't hesitate to say sayonara, sucker. But 5 years later, here we are. And I'm about to make a lifelong commitment to this man on Saturday. To grow old with him, to continue building a future with him, and to be his ride or die. So this is the nugget of wisdom that I want to leave with you before I take a break. Don't make cynicism your default response when it comes to relationships. Exercising caution and wisdom is one thing, but immediately assuming that people are out to hurt you is another. And no matter how cautious you are, there is no guarantee that the relationship would be pain-free and easy. In fact, for any relationship to work and last, you need to be willing to be vulnerable. And being vulnerable means being willing to take the chance that you might get hurt or you might get disappointed, but that you're also willing to take that risk for the possibility that it might not be so bad after all. The opportunity to get to know this one beautiful soul who may be well worth your time and energy should be stronger than your desire to keep yourself from getting hurt at the expense of not having any meaningful relationships at all. Assume the best about people, and if the people whom you choose to trust and believe end up proving you wrong, well then, at least you saw their true colors, and you can now make a well-informed decision to cut them off from your life without hesitation. And you can then redirect your time and attention to other people who do deserve your time and attention and trust. And that's what we do. We rinse and repeat. Because we don't give up on love. It's not love that failed us, it's people. But I believe there are a lot more genuinely good, kind, and honest people out there than there are deceptive, cruel, and dishonest ones. So unless this person has done something or said something that's really questionable to you, I'd encourage you to assume the best about this person. Who knows? He or she might turn out to be your ride or die. You'll never know until you give this person a chance. And with that, I officially close the season. I'll be back in about a month or two, depending on how much break I need after the wedding. But I'll let you know very soon when the next season is gonna be. Thank you for supporting the show. I appreciate you with all my heart. And I can't wait to connect with you again to explore more ways to shift our mindset for living a more fulfilling life. Thank you so much for tuning in. Take care and stay safe. If you love listening to this podcast, please leave a review in Apple Podcasts and spread the love around by sharing it with your friends and loved ones. I sincerely appreciate your support. Thanks for listening to Shift Happens Every Day. You can access the show notes for this episode and all past episodes at www.mylasaveda.com/podcast. Please join us again in the next episode of Shift Happens Every Day.